Hello everyone, BlenderManTutorials here, and today I'm going to kick off a new tutorial series that is specifically focused on Unity 5. So, in the past I have done a tutorial series similar to this one a couple years back. However, the technology has advanced so much that I felt like I need to make more tutorials in order to keep up with the technology. And so this first tutorial is going to get into Unity 5's interface so that future tutorials will make more sense to those starting out learning Unity 5. And so if you want to see more of these videos, leave a like and remember to subscribe and click on the subscribe bell to receive notifications for future videos. So now I've done that little spiel, let's get into Unity. So right here I have the Unity interface, and up here in the top left hand corner is a hierarchy. So the hierarchy is where we have all the game objects in the scene. So if I right click in the hierarchy, I can create an object, and just for the tutorial's sake, I'll create a cube. So this cube is now in the game, in the world, right? This cube in the hierarchy is now shown in the world. Right now it's not textured, but as we can see, it is inside the scene. All of the game objects that are in the scene are in the hierarchy. Now, not every object in the hierarchy is rendered in the scene. However, in order for it to be in the game, it must be in the scene. Now we have the scene tab, and this just shows us what is in our scene at the moment, what is in our actual game itself. And then we have the game tab, which has everything that is rendered. So right now there is no camera, but if we were to add a camera into the hierarchy, there we go, it would render, see, this cube, and that shows up in this game tab. Now what happened there was I had added an object under with the cube already selected, and that caused it to become a parent object of the cube. That shouldn't have happened, but it did. Oh well, moving on. So down here we have the Project tab, and the Project tab holds all of the assets that we are going to be using for the project. In this Project tab, we can import 3D models, animations, so on and so forth, images, textures, and along with that we can create things within the actual Unity editor itself. So for instance, if I right click in this Project tab and go up to Create, I can create a C# script, a material, sprites, animations. We're not going to go into sprites, but you can also create cube maps and so on and so forth. So for the tutorial's sake, we're going to go into C# script, and we're just going to name it tutorial, just as a test. And so frequently we're going to be creating new scripts that will interact with the game objects to control them and to make them do things for us, right? So if I drag this script onto our cube object in the hierarchy, and I click on cube, we can now see that there's a tutorial script. And so now this script is attached to that object. Also, we can create prefabs, so that is, if we were to drag something from the hierarchy down in here, we've now created a cube prefab, which can be duplicated and replicated infinitely. Sometimes we will do that with scripts for, say, bullets or instantiating enemies or so on and so forth. But we don't need that for now. And over here we have the inspector. And the inspector goes through all the properties that are in our game tab. Or sorry, not our game tab, but in our our hierarchy objects. So if I click on this camera, we see that it has a transform, so that is its location inside of the scene. Then we have the camera, which basically tells it to render everything inside of the scene. And then we have these other things. An audio listener is for any audio files that we want to play during our game. A GUI layer, which is basically if we have any GUI elements that we want to add into the game, and a flare for the sun. We don't need these. We don't need the flare, but the audio listener can come in handy, and the camera, definitely for the camera we would want that. So all objects come with a transform automatically. And the cube, we see we have a box collider and a mesh render. So that means that if we try and hit an object, say if we dropped a ball in it, it would interact with the cube because it has a box collider. It will not go through the cube. Then we have the actual mesh of the cube. So that's what it looks like, what you see, and the mesh render, which is how the cube object interacts with the rest of the world, say lighting and shadows, things like that. And then we have our tutorial script. We don't need that now. We can just remove that. And then we have our default material, which is the material that automatically gets rendered in-game. So just as a little example, if we were to add a light in here, now we see that the scene has changed. There's a light object, and if we rotate this around, we can change where the source of light comes from. And Unity has a cool thing where it will change the sky based on the time of day, which is directly reflected by the rotation of your main light. So now that I have gone over kind of everything in the editing side of Unity, everything that we can manipulate, we have the console editor, or not the editor, but the console, which basically displays everything that's going on behind the scenes, everything that we can't see. And so the console will display any errors that occur when it comes to compiling scripts, and any in-game errors for, say, logic errors. If something's going wrong in the game, that might not be necessarily because of the code itself, but it could be that different objects are not interacting with each other the way that they should be, and it gives us an error. So it's not a compiler error, but it is another type of error. So that's what the console is used for. It's mainly for debugging. So that is all that I had planned for today in this tutorial. That is the basics, just to begin with Unity 5. And I hope that it was helpful. And if you would like to comment on topics that you would like me to cover, that would be extremely helpful. And I would love to go over anything you guys want me to. I kind of have a general idea about what I want this tutorial series to look like, but I would love to hear suggestions from the audience, you know, the people who actually watch the videos, to see what they want to see and what they would like from this channel. So comment down below if you want me to cover a specific topic. Click the like button if you want to have me continue doing these videos. As always, subscribe because the support really encourages me to make more. And the next video is going to be on the basics of scripting and creating our first character. So thanks for watching, and see you in the next video.